Hi you guys, this is Rachel Kirkland here, the Modern Shaman. Thanks for being with me for another YouTube Q&A video of this week. If you are new to this channel, I always encourage you to go to my website and just kind of check it out. Find out what I'm about. If you liked this video, find out about ways that you can connect with me or get more involved. I do this full-time in terms of sessions, meeting with people. I travel and tour, so I might be coming to a city near you, as well as I have modules and video online teaching options. So if you want to get more serious about this type of education and developing your psychic gifts, strengthening your ways of connecting with spirit, go to my website, check it out, kind of find out ways that might seem like they fit for you to feel like you're able to develop and strengthen and grow in your ways with spirit. Also, I know I mentioned it a second ago, but I am going to be coming to Chicago in March. I'm going to be going to Hawaii in May. I'll be in Japan in June and July, and then Raleigh, North Carolina in August. I'm going to do some time in Colorado as well. So please go online and look at my tour schedule. I love meeting up with you guys and kind of being able to connect personally with energies that I have known in the social media platforms for a while, but have never like met you face to face and just connected with you on a personal level. So I always love that about touring, and I have my lecture schedule on there. Just check it out, themodernshaman.net. All right, enough about that. Let me read the question of the week. It says, "Hello, Rachel. Thank you so much for all of your videos. I love your channel and it always brings an uplift to my day." That makes me happy. Thank you. Thank you for saying that. It says, "I'm wondering if something can be done to increase intelligence and memory. Please help." Okay. Intelligence and memory. Woof, this is a big one. You're going to trigger my little scientific mind a little bit because let me see how far I want to go down the rabbit hole with you guys, right? So honestly, when we talk about intelligence, it's a very elusive term. Even the definition itself, there are all sorts of different ways to define, to research, to understand, and view intelligence. So let's first talk about that. So the first thing that we need to understand is like what intelligence and memory are, and they're not the same, okay? So intelligence is typically viewed in two different kind of researched themes. One of which is through our like neurobiological body. So this is kind of studying the biological aspects of our brain. A lot of this is done through cerebral imagery, scanning of the different parts of the brain, the prefrontal cortex versus the cerebellum, all these different areas in the brain, and noticing where they are highly functional at different aspects of utilizing our intelligence, doing tasks that require intelligent thought and systematic processing. Now that is the first way of understanding intelligent, like how well does our brain function at its highest ability and capacity in those certain areas of the brain which neurologically are used to do certain systematic and logical processes in life, okay? And that is basically like our neurobiology and studying that. That is one way of understanding intelligence. Another way of understanding intelligence is through our genes. And this is a completely different kind of vein of understanding intelligence. And this is because a lot of our intelligence has been seen and studied over the years in terms of research as a highly hereditary trait. And so science began to look at like why is it so hereditary? And that's because certain cells and having better cellular function moves into being able to use the brain at a higher capacity. This has also been associated with a larger brain, like larger skull, larger, they talk about just cerebral volume and being able to process. And they've actually found that that does correlate. There is a connection in terms of research that where they've seen that larger brain also corresponds with a higher functioning capacity of our cerebral capabilities. And so they link a lot of these things to genes, hereditary, and bringing them in. And so they're trying to study from this perspective what genes and our predisposition to cellular activity because of our genes attributes to us being intelligent. So those are two different veins of kind of studying and knowing how to increase them. Do we increase from our genetic capabilities, latent DNA, figuring out how to turn on certain latent DNA or how to activate those genetics? And then the other system, which is just basically understanding the cerebral functioning through a lot of cerebral imagery research that's done when we are using the brain at high level capacity, finding out which areas light up and how those are active. And a lot of those studies are finding that the brain is not at all a fixed organ. It is so mutable, changeable, stretchable, and it varies a lot. And a lot of the variables have to do with age. Even our other systems in the body, like hormones, they notice a lot of our brain function differs around our times of puberty and moving into older age, or when the hormones impact our functionality and lubrication of the movement and efficiency of different neurons firing within the brain. So old age and the elasticity of some of the aspects of the body start to break down, and these are also associated with intelligence. Intelligence itself is not a fixed aspect of the self, so it can be changed because it's not fixed. A lot of the ways that it's been researched and a lot of the quantitative data, like IQ tests, which are highly reductive, you know what I mean? They reduce things kind of in a simplistic form to an intelligence quotient, like a number, a numerical range of someone's intellectual abilities and capacities. And I haven't always liked that. Like, I haven't always valued an IQ test, but the data backs it up. Like, there's a lot of research out there, and even that numerical data has proven to show that people with high levels of IQ, even when tested when they're really young, have shown more success in life, more achievement-based data, researchable success. What would be considered, achievement, kind of having a promotional sense of intelligence. So now that I've kind of defined those different understandings of intelligence, let's talk about memory. Now, memory is also a mutable sense of growth process in the brain. It literally is a utilized, like a muscle. And that activity use is housed in different areas of the brain as well. It's not one aspect that is known as housing memory. This is why sometimes when people have accidents, they lose short-term memory but retain long-term memory. If you're wanting to increase your memory in this way, like your ability to sequence and to have access to our indexed memory, now those areas of the brain store that type of memory, which is very different from our motor memory, and having accessibility to that type of memory of the muscle memory of remembering how to do something through the body in a kinesthetic way without needing to learn it again in the systematic way. This is like riding a bike or movements of our body, breathing, these things that walking, this kinesthetic accessibility to remembering the motor skill. And a lot of times when we have strokes, you'll notice that people lose the ability of the motor skill memory. So they have to relearn certain motor skills in the functioning of the body, and just helping those biological processes have accessibility to the memory, linking them together. This is more focused on the neocortex or the cerebellum. So these are highly targeted areas in the brain that are shown to house aspects of our memory. Okay, I know we have talked about intelligence, we've talked about memory, so I want to talk about the practice activity, the third thing of how to activate these areas. And this can be used all over. You can use this to activate your pineal and your pituitary. This practice can be used to really target any organ and system and active use of the body and the biological functions to strengthen them. So the practice is simple. You move into a meditative state, and I would encourage you to move into that state when you're sitting and you have a strong sense of elongation of the spine, so your posture is highly vertical. Your tailbone and your pelvis are centered onto the ground. Your shoulders and your hips are in a natural alignment. Chin moves into a horizontal position, in essence creating that T here forward, and then you have the lateral T of your shoulders and your kind of like your breast cavity here, making that T junction, and then holding that tall elongation of the spine. This just gets a natural flow and an open energetic accessibility to both life force energy, yin and yang, masculine and feminine polarities of that energetic charge. So once you've done that, you target with your internal vision the organ, the area of the brain, or the system that you want to focus on. And when we do this, you want to do it in a sense of precision, a laser-like focus. So we're using the third eye not with a diffused energy, we're using it with a precise, it's a masculine form of energy manipulation, shaping your energetic focus, very pointed like an arrow. So you may close your eyes, and I would encourage you to do this even using an eye mask, because it turns off, it's just like a deprivation activity. It turns off the exterior and moves you very internal with this practice. So as you're closing your eyes or you have your eye mask on, you focus very precisely on that part of the brain. If you've seen the map and you've looked at it and you know where it is, you turn your third eye as if it's a laser light, focusing it directly into the prefrontal cortex, directly into the cells in the prefrontal cortex, directly into the neurological grouping of those cells in the prefrontal cortex, in the hippocampus, in the temporal lobe, or you can move to your gene structure held within the DNA, and you can target your genes that are associated with your intelligence and the cellular function at the highest capability, efficiency, and effectiveness for your brain, for your memory, for your intelligence. So you would focus on that like a laser. You set that intention, and even the way that I'm talking, you speak in a deeper tone, a more alpha. You want to get almost into that 4 decibel, 6 decibel range of hertz. So this is a deeper intonation as you're speaking, and you may just be speaking it to yourself telepathically, but the body will translate it biologically as a frequency, because this is energy. Remember, our energy, our thoughts are energy in themselves as well, and they can create a frequency. Thoughts have a frequency, a literal, measurable, vibrational tone. So you align with that internal voice that is deeper, that is more alpha in that 4 to 6 hertz. You direct your internal vision to that organ, to that DNA strand, that gene, to that cell, to that aspect of where the body is holding the memories for sequence. Wherever you want to direct it, you get very specific with that part of the brain or that part of the DNA sequence. And then as you're directing your intention there, you begin to activate fire energy, chi energy, heat, red coloring. These are all associated with active energy. This is passion also. So you're leaning into the passion of the emotive quality, the emotionality of activation. Passion, you're also feeling a sense of heat in the body. So if you're clairsentient, you may literally send heat to that area of the brain, as if you are putting a flame a small bit of heat, or breathing your fire breathing dragon breath on that area, on that gene, on that aspect of the DNA, on that stored area of memory. And you can see it like a red light, activating, growing hotter and hotter and harder, vibrating stronger and stronger and stronger, as if the pulse itself is starting to hum here. So you lean into this activation as deeply as you can. You have a strong sense of pointed focus here in the third eye. It's sharp. It feels literally like an arrow. If you are familiar and you've done any of my work on how to shape and manipulate energy, you move directly into the arrow form of this energy, or this laser-like dial. Zoom. It's right there. Boom. You hit it, and then you activate the heat, the chi, the passion. So you start to vibrate up that energy. And you do this just with a simple breath, but you place your tongue at the top of the roof of your mouth. So you're starting a shorter cycle that's just cerebral, that's held only within the skull. And as you're breathing, the cycle itself is looping, 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 tight within the skull, and it's building just like steam in a teapot. It's building, it's building, it's building, but its only exit point, its only directed point of focus has been that laser-like intention of that particular organ, that particular gene that you already set up with the intention of why you're doing this meditation. You set it up at the beginning. So it's already focused on that part of the body and activating the strengthening of the biological function, the strengthening of those genes, the efficiency, the effectiveness, as if you're turning the heat up right on that organ, right on that DNA sequence, genome structure. You're getting very specific with it in your internal precision of your third eye, and the emotionality component is leaning into all of the energetic feeling, the sensational energy. Like I said, heat, fire, chi. You can even visualize that red turning up red there if you see in colors and are highly clairvoyant. You can see a flame placed there as well. Or you can feel the energy of pumping that organ up as if you are literally pumping iron. You are strengthening, and you may feel the sensation of pulsing, strengthening that heartbeat right in that area of the body. And you would get really specific with it. If you want to strengthen sequencing memory, then you would set that as your identifiable factor. I want to strengthen my sequential ability to access memories in an indexed manner, whatever it may be for you. And then you move into that area of the temporal lobe, move into that hippocampus. You see it, you feel it, and then you activate that fire-based energy. Highly active, pumping. After you've done that aspect of activation, then you soothe it. So then you move into an earth-based energy that feels like it's absorbent. It's soaking it up. It's settling and assimilating all the activity, all the vibrational charge that you've just placed into that area of the body. And it's electrical. Our body is an electrical system. It will literally feel like you're electrifying that organ, that area of the brain. And as you're doing it, you're calming it down at the end to assimilate and help process that energy and solidify it into a manifested form. Earth energy is fantastic for that. Earth grounds everything. So it takes that electrical charge and it stills it into a manifested form of relaxation, of ease, of absorption. So this brings your body into the receiving, the taking of all the effort that's been done in that meditation and letting it assimilate through the form. And you simply set the intention to move into feeling earth. I have modules on practicing with the elementals, but this is such an easy way to strengthen those areas in the body, the biological function of those organs for a specific intended use, whether it be intelligence, memory, your third eye in terms of activation with the pineal and the pituitary, and then settling it. You activate it through the fire, you settle it through the earth, you ground it down. And then when you're grounding, you're breathing very slow. You remove the tongue from the top of the roof of the mouth, and you let the cycle go all the way down into your tailbone. We move into the root. And so we cycle our breaths all the way through our spine like a straw, creating that elongation of our cyclical cycle of our chakra energy points. So this way we're grounding all the way down into our material form, not just activating in the brain, and you don't just want to overstimulate here and then walk around because you just feel totally out of body and kind of fritzed out. Ground it down with a circular breath that is breathing in deep all the way from the bottom in the root of the spine, tailbone hitting the ground, and all the way up to the top of the crown. Inhaling up, exhaling down, creating that elongation cycle of grounding all the work that was done. And there is an easy and efficient meditation for you to strengthen your intelligence and your memory, targeting those areas within the brain, or you can target those areas and specifics within your genetics. It's all on you, so you can get to work, my loves. I hope this video was beneficial to you and effective. Let me know how it goes if you try the practice. Mwah! Blessings. Stay tuned and we'll be back here next week with another video.